I guess I still smell like lemons. So, others doubt of others. That's
Yeah.
what we mean by that is because it's quite a difficult one to explain really. Is you might be totally driven and certain about what's going to happen in your relationship, but other people aren't. They're not as sure as you. They're not as committed as you into it because it's not their relationship. So they might think, oh, maybe we'll just find someone a bit closer. Not really the way it works.
Yeah. It's not. And a good example was when we got engaged. And I was terrified to tell my family. And I shouldn't have been, but I was really terrified. I remember sitting on my bed and being really, really scared to tell them. But then I told them, and it was almost like my mother was more... Oh, how do you put it? She was...
I don't know.
You were sitting right next to me when this happened.
Yeah, and I was terrified.
It was almost like she was more apprehensive of the fact that we were getting engaged than she was happy. And it wasn't that she didn't like Joe, because she absolutely loves Joe. But I think it was more that concern of, oh, well, you're really... Well, I was quite young, wasn't I?
Yeah, I mean, we got engaged after being together for a year, I suppose, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was so it was reasonably quite sudden, but at the same time we spoke for 6 hours a day. It felt like 6 hours a day, almost every single day that we could. And from that, we probably knew each other better than other people do who've been together for 4 or 5 years, which is where we're at now, pretty much. 4 or 5 years, yeah. But yeah, I think that's the real thing that people don't think about.
But yeah, I think it was definitely not that she wasn't happy for us. It was more that she was worried that maybe I didn't know what I was getting into and how difficult it would be, and she was a little bit worried that maybe things weren't quite what they seemed, or you know what I
mean. they also maybe doubt the other person.
Yeah.
Are they doing all the things they say they're doing? Are they doing things they're not saying they're doing? And stuff like that. And there is always that trust element in there from other people, because you might be, rose tinted glasses on, but other people see things a bit more, I suppose, objectively than you do.
There's something in my leggings.
Okay, is it alive? No, cool.
That was just really bothering me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is worth pointing out that we didn't get married right away. So after we got engaged, Joe went back home. So he came back here, and we were still in that long distance relationship for quite a while, several years. Well, a couple of years.
Yeah.
It felt like several years.
It's dragged, I can tell you.
It was really hard. But yeah, so we were still in that long distance relationship, even though we were engaged. But in a way, I think that kind of helped my family to understand us a bit more, because it wasn't just that we were rushing into things. It was, we genuinely wanted to be together. We wanted to be married. We wanted to live together. And it was just us kind of saying that commitment.
Yeah. And also, it's, as bad as it may sound, it's better for visa purposes as well. Yeah. Which is it's an unfortunate consideration as well. That kind of...
That's a whole other can of worms.
That is, yeah. I mean, and that's a really complicated process that's changed even since we got into it.
Yeah.
So... And we're not
while we got into it,
we got into it. During application.
During.
Yeah. But along the lines of, say, back to other people's doubt for a second. When I told my parents, the only thing that they asked me was, "Are you sure?" And all it took from me was a yes, and a firm yes, very quickly, for them to be, okay. And that was it. But obviously I might have friends who have other things to say about, could you maybe get someone a bit closer? But it's not what you want, and it's not actually what you need. Finance. Oh, God.
We saved up how many years? all the time we were
years.
engaged, basically, we were saving up for things like visas and flights and basically everything to be able to get it so I could come here
Yeah.
and live with Joe.
And it was kind of things changed along the way, plans changed along the way. We went from...
Definitely a bit of a learning curve
Yeah.
to go with it.
We started off with the kind of, oh, it'll be great. Oh, I'll move out into a flat. I was living in London at the time. I was like, move into a flat. It'll be great. And, and then we can just move here and I'll save for the wedding. And weddings are fucking expensive.
They are.
And looking back at it, the way that we've done things, which we'll explain in a minute, are definitely better. So what we ended up doing was I ended up having to leave my job in London, and I moved back to Tring. It's a wonderful place, very small town, and moved back in with my parents and got a new job in a town just half an hour away, and that afforded me the opportunity to pay off all of my debt and save up money. And during the course of saving, I pretty much freaked out and changed my mind over a wedding and said we should actually get a flat instead. And we did. We bought a flat. And you know what? Smart idea.
Yeah.
It was kind of... Even if we'd had a big wedding here, we wouldn't be able to have everyone we wanted. And it would have been really, really difficult.
I think, in a way, it would have been harder for me to have a big wedding here because my family still wouldn't have been able to make it. Like, my mother would not have been able to make it. I don't think my father would have been able to make it either. Like, the two people that you definitely want at your wedding, if you're making it a big deal, wouldn't have been able to make it here, and that would have been a really rough day. And the way we made it, it was perfect. Like, it was small. Yeah, it would have been nice if my parents could have been there, but it was intimate. It was nice. It was a really, really nice day and a really nice way to celebrate us finally being together and us finally getting to start our lives together. Joe's parents were there, and it was really nice because I feel like, in a way, they were our biggest supporters aside from, my mother.
And it's kind of they helped a lot. They helped me stay focused on the us being together side of things. Where it was I was really torn up. Do I waste a month's worth of savings? Going to go and get Kim over here for Christmas one time, or do I just head down and she gets here a month earlier on the other end of it? And actually, the you coming here was the right thing. It was without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because it gave you an idea of what my family was like at Christmas. And that type of thing, a little bit more normal living, because you were here for 3 weeks, weren't you? It was 3 weeks.
Was it 3 weeks? I thought it was 2 weeks.
It was three.
It was 3.
I think
it was 3. But it was like 1 week Joe had off. It was the week before Christmas. Joe had off. So, we had that time together to just kind of do normal coupley things. And then Joe went back to work. So I was still here and kind of exploring on my own, I guess. But it was more like what life would be like because Joe was back to work and I was kind of doing my own thing.
It's like a short tester. Because with the whole visa thing, what happens is they say that when your other half moves here, your proposed spouse, you've got 6 months to make up your mind of whether or not you actually want to be together and then get married. But realistically, you can't do that because you have to give lots of notice for your wedding if you want it at a decent date, and then you've got the visa application again to go around because you don't want to be left not knowing if you've got a visa or not being here, which happened. It happened. And
really stressful.
It was very stressful. But in the end, everything came back. It was fine. So that's all right. But yeah, that's always a worry as well. But planning ahead. I think that was
planning.
We didn't do that very well.
Yeah. Number 1 tip, if you're getting a visa, make sure you are filling out the right visa form, because they change them all the time. They, like, little things they'll change about it, but if it's not the correct form, then they just send it back.
They send it back and say, you have 2 weeks to complete the correct form, or we'll withdraw your application and you'll be deported.
Yeah.
That's which
it's terrifying. It's terrifying. There was a time where I couldn't even turn on the television for fear of that show coming on.
UK Border Force.
Yeah, and worrying that they were going to come after me and deport me.
A live stream. Is that my front door? Knock, knock, knock. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah. But yeah, finance is always, everything's going to cost more than you think as well. That's another one. Fudge factor. You've got to have some. You need to have at least an extra 2 months worth of spends that you think you're going to need. And then even once you've got your visa and stuff, you've got to remember there's going to be a time when your other half can't work. And that was like 7 months. 7 months of you being here.
Yeah. That was really, really hard. It was really frustrating for both of us, and a lot of stress. A lot of stress on both of us, because obviously Joe was providing for both of us, and that was hard. And it's a hard thing for me to not have any control over, because I was really worried that, it's my fault. It's my fault that we didn't have enough money at the end of the month to pay something, because I couldn't work. And it wasn't that I didn't want to work, it was that I couldn't. I didn't have the visa yet. And that was really hard.
No, it was close. And I mean, I've learnt my lesson with money quite early on with budgeting, and it's very much some of the jobs I've had have been very, very fine to the line on expenditure versus income. And this time I'd done all the sums beforehand. I worked it out based on all the bills, and I knew I could afford it. But then food. You don't always want to eat chicken and rice and nothing else all the time. You are going to sometimes want to go out for dinner or do something other than just go to the gym. Because I thought buying as a gym membership together and going together would be enough. Why did I think that? It's one time you just turned around to me and said, I don't want to go to the gym, it's the only place I ever go. And it's like, it was winter as well, which made it really horrible, because you got to go outside and go for a wander. Because why would you want to? Because it's disgusting weather.
Yeah. And for all my American friends here that are watching it doesn't snow here, it just rains.
And it's windy.
It's rainy and windy, and maybe not as cold as northern New York, but it's still pretty cold.
It's horrible is what it is.
It's not very nice.
It's not cold and crisp and that kind of, it's fresh out here. No, it's this is horrid, I want to go back inside now.
It's just rainy and damp.
Yeah.
And windy.
Yeah.